Hi everyone, I'm Gina from GKD Designs and your host of StampTV. Today on StampTV, I'm going to show you a fun background technique that uses alcohol markers and embossing powder. Let me show you the tools and products you're going to need to make this card project. First, you're going to need some markers, and I am using some of the Spectrum Noir markers. The two colors I've chosen are GT3 and LG4. Then for cardstock, I'm using some of our Black Onyx cardstock and some of our white cardstock. For embossing powder, I'm using some of the GKD Designs Fine Detail Clear Powder. I'm also using an embossing magic pad, and this removes any static or any oil or debris that may have gotten on the surface of your card so that the embossing powder only sticks to where you want it. Then I'm also going to use a sponge dauber, and you can see this one is well loved. I'm going to be using this with some of our Black Onyx ink. Then I'm also going to use a Versamark pad and my heat tool, and I'm going to use this little leaf sprig, and this is from the Birthday Blessings stamp set. And that was originally in the Birthday Essentials StampTV kit, and this is due in just about another week or so. We'll have this stamp set available by itself, along with the other one and the die sets, so you'll be able to get this if you missed out on that. I have a little bit of gingham ribbon here. I just want to kind of follow up to a really cool alcohol marker technique that Kendra showed us on StampTV. And here I have a couple little pieces of some scratch white paper. And what I want to do with this is I kind of want to determine a pattern, what I want my card to what pattern I want to show through. Now, because I'm only using two markers, there's a couple different ways that you can do this. First of all, I would recommend using the chisel side of your marker. And then you can do little circles all over the page. You can do little squares all over the page. I know this doesn't look like much right now. And then blend in lighter circles. You can use 3 or 4 colors. You can do the same thing over here. I'm going to blend these, but not really blend them, just kind of butt them up against each other. Kind of like that. Or if you're only using 2 colors, you may want to try this, and this is what I'm going to do with my card. I want to just do these kind of angled stripes. This is a quick and easy way to do this technique. So I'm going to start with my darker marker, and I'm just going to do some random stripes, kind of going up and down this piece of cardstock. And you can see I'm not worrying about it blending real well or anything like that. Or having the stripes be straight or none of that. Okay. Then I'm going to take the other marker and, again with the chisel side, I'm going to fill in those other areas. If you want to, you can grab another color or these same colors and make a plaid pattern where you would turn the markers and go in the other direction. But I think I'm just going to stop with these stripes for right now. This is a really fun way to use these markers. Okay, so there is a very odd looking background. Now my next step is going to be to grab that embossing magic pad, because I want to make sure that, number one, that this is dry and that my embossing powder isn't going to stick anywhere that I don't want it to stick. Okay, so now my next step is going to be to grab that stamp, and I'm going to ink it up with the Versamark ink. And the very first time you ink up the stamp, make sure you really get it inky. And then each time you do it, it won't be quite as tough to get it so inky. Okay, so I'm going to put one here. And you may not be able to see this on the screen, but when you're doing it in person, you will be able to see that there's a watermark left behind, and that will make it easy for you to see where you've stamped your images. So I'll put one over here. Then I'm going to bring one in down here. And I'm going to keep doing that all over this piece of cardstock. Just be careful where you press on the cardstock when you're pulling the stamp off, because you might actually poke your finger right into one of the Versamark leaves. Okay, we'll do one here. I'm going to turn it a little bit. And the way the light's reflecting, I don't know if you can see that, but I think you can see something. You'll be able to see that bit of a watermark. Let's do one here. And one coming in here. I love this stamp. This is so much fun, this one. So many ways to use it. And it's got so much neat detail built right into the stamp. Let's do one right here. And we'll just do a little bit right up in this corner. Okay. So now we have all of these leaves stamped. Now my next step is going to be to put some of the clear embossing powder on top. So I'm just going to pour that, well, you can use a folded piece of cardstock if you want. It makes it easier to get the embossing powder back into the jar. And you'll be able to see this much better once I get the powder on there. But this is kind of a big amount of embossing powder that you need. So you might want to use a bigger piece of cardstock for your powder. All right, let's just shake the rest of that off, and let me blow away any excess. Okay, I'm just going to put that down for a second and get this embossing powder back into the jar. And I can also get that in there too. Okay. And I do have a little cleanup rag here. It's always good to have paper towels at your desk. All right. So now, you can always hold this with a clothespin or a tweezer or something, but I always forget my clothespins and tweezers, so I'm just going to hold it with my finger and turn it as I go. Now I'm going to start to emboss this, and you're going to see that clear powder is going to come up nice and shiny. And I'll turn it a little bit for you to show you what that looks like once I'm all done here. This does come up very quickly, and you don't want to burn the powder. So once you see it gets nice and shiny and a little bit smooth, you're ready to move on. And the fine detail powder is so nice because it doesn't kind of blur the detail in these leaves. That detail's so pretty, and you want that to stay intact when you emboss. Okay, so now let me show you this. You can see all that shine there? Okay. All right, so now let me flip this over. Now for the next step, we're going to grab some of that black ink and a sponge dauber and ink that up really well, and I'm going to start rubbing this over the entire surface of this piece of cardstock, and this is just magical. I love the way this looks. Okay, so see what's happening? Isn't that cool? You still have that little striped background in there. It's just very muted now under the black. And you're getting this beautiful leaf image popping just all over the place. And you can see why doing squares and swirls and other things may give you some really interesting looks. So it's worth trying all different kinds of things. Oh, that's so fun, and it's so pretty. All right, now grab a piece of paper towel after that, and then rub it all over the surface of the card to pick up any of that black ink that might be stuck to the surface of that particular, these embossed images. Okay, so there we go. Look at how vibrant that is. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. All right, now when Kendra, our alcohol marker specialist, in the forum, she showed you how to take a piece of white ribbon, beautiful white organdy ribbon. It may have been organza, but I think it was organdy, and she colored it in this beautiful aqua color and matched it perfectly to the cardstock and the Gina K Designs inks that she was using. But I wanted to just take that a step further and show you kind of how cool this looks when you ink up some gingham ribbon with black. Now, you won't change the color of the black, so that's good, but now you can have, instead of a black and white gingham, you can have a black and this turquoisey green gingham. So I'll do a little bit like that, and you can see what that looks like. Isn't that pretty? Or, if you want a lighter color, you can use this lighter one and have that more aqua green look. And that just glows. That is so pretty. I kind of like the lighter one up against that black color that we turned the cardstock, but both of them are really pretty. And if you really want to be creative, you can create ombre ribbon where you start with one color and kind of blend them all together as they get lighter or darker. So that's a real fun thing to do. And just let it dry for a couple minutes and then it's ready to use. And that really makes great use of your black and white gingham, your white ribbons. You can have any color you want just by using that technique. Okay, now this piece is going to get mounted onto a piece of white cardstock, and I just want to show you how vibrant that looks. You can see I didn't use our heavy base weight because it's bleeding through. If you use the heavy base weight, it won't bleed through, but it doesn't make sense to do that and use the more expensive cardstock when you're going to cover that up anyway. So use the less expensive layering weight for that. And then this whole thing will go onto a black card base, and you can see just how pretty and vibrant that looks, like that. Now that's a great backdrop, and I think it's so pretty that I don't really want to do much of a focal image to a card like this. So what I did is, let me show you my finished card here. This card uses the Thankful Ovals stamp set, and that's a little rubber mini set. It's a very nice set, and it works with the Stackers dies, the Stackers Layers dies, our inverted ovals, our scalloped ovals. It works with all of those. And you can see I use the inverted oval for that black to create that little beaded edge around the oval, the edge of the oval there. And then I just took that same GT3 marker and I just colored in one of the little spaces around the oval just to bring the color all together. And then I used a piece of gingham that I colored with the lighter one, the LG4. And that, oh, and I did pop them up with some of our new foam squares. They're the scrapbook adhesive foam squares. They're really nice. And that is my finished card project. I hope you've enjoyed today's card project. Stay tuned to StampTV for lots more inspiration, and thanks so much for watching.